Eyewitness News 8 a.m. starts now with breaking news.
Taking a live look over Washington, D.C. this morning, where former President Donald Trump is getting ready to return to the White House. ABC News declared Trump the winner at 5:30 a.m. this morning. And here's a look at the results this morning. Trump won 4 battleground states, including North Carolina. Thank you so much for waking up with us on this Wednesday. I'm Damani Lewis.
And I'm Denise Broom. Hours ago, the president-elect took the stage with an early message to the country.
So I want to thank the American people for the extraordinary honor of being elected your 47th president and your 45th president. We're going to help our country heal. We have a country that needs help, and it needs help very badly.
Right now, the nation is waiting on a response from Vice President Kamala Harris. She's expected to speak later today. Her campaign co-chair made this announcement to supporters after midnight.
We will continue to fight to make sure that every vote is counted, that every voice has spoken.
And other results are still waiting to be finalized, but right now we know the Republican Party is projected to take control of the Senate, and the House is still up for grabs. And locally, we're seeing called races from North Carolina to South Carolina, and you can see them scrolling right there at the bottom of your screen. Now here's meteorologist Keith Monday with a check of your Wednesday forecast.
It's a foggy start out there this morning. Boy, it's real soupy, especially Charlotte and points south. Visibility less than a quarter mile for Chester and Lancaster, only near that quarter-mile mark. Widespread Shelby to Gastonia, Rock Hill. There's widespread dense fog this morning on the south side. So be slow and cautious out there. Give yourself plenty of extra time and slow things down as you head out the door. Now, temperature-wise, it is really mild. Mid-60s widespread, even 60s up in the mountains this morning. It's kind of humid out there too with that extra moisture in place. So it's still not feeling like real fall weather. Today's highs will be warming up at least close to 10 degrees above average for this time of the year. Gray start. We may get into a little bit of sunshine for the early afternoon, but that will not last long. Clouds and rain chances will then come back as we head into this evening. Up next, we'll talk about the timeline of a steadier shot at rain. How much will be adding up, not just tonight, as we head our way through the rest of this week. We have some breaking traffic news to get you caught up on here this morning. Mark, what's the update?
All right, so we are live right now on a crash scene. We've been watching it since it occurred around 5:30 this morning. We know one person was killed in a crash on University City Boulevard. The inbound lanes blocked prior to the split with North Tryon. CMPD major crash investigating. Medics still on the scene, and we've been watching what appears to be family members at that scene as well. The outbound side remains open, but the inbound side remains closed, causing problems for folks coming in from W.T. Harris. The closures between Shopping Center Drive and North Tryon on 49. A lot of folks are using 49 over to 85. As you can see, some of the overflow issues coming in out of University City. I use North Tryon as a cut through and a bypass to get around those delays. Let's talk about what's happening down in South Carolina, because at one point we had 77 northbound temporarily blocked prior to Gold Hill Road because of a multiple car crash. Now on the shoulder, you've got the residual and onlooker delays this morning as folks make their way northbound, and you could see just how heavy, and the overflow on Sutton, Pleasant, and US 21 cannot be overstated. It's going to take a long time to get in. I do want to quickly mention a crash on 77 here in Mecklenburg County near Brookshire Freeway. Thankfully, it's out of the travel lanes, in the toll lanes, but out of the travel toll lane here, and it's not affecting the general purpose lane as well. Damani.
All right, Mark, thank you. Well, back to that breaking news. ABC News declaring former President Donald Trump the 47th president of the United States over Vice President Kamala Harris.
And we're seeing how people voted locally. Channel 9's Eli Brand has a look at Trump's support in North Carolina.
Well, the Tar Heel state continues to be a place where voters are not shy to split their ticket. This is the third presidential election cycle in a row where North Carolina voters elected a Democrat governor and attorney general, while also selecting Republican Donald Trump to get their electoral votes for the presidency. Now, it's those voters that split their tickets that are the main reason that Vice President Kamala Harris was unable to overtake President-elect Donald Trump in the state. She really needed to run her numbers up in the blue counties of the state. But as you can see in the governor's election, Josh Stein here in Mecklenburg County ended up getting 404,000 votes. Harris could not follow him in those numbers. In the presidential election, you can see Harris only 371,000 votes. That's duplicated in multiple other typically blue counties in the state. Here in Wake County, where Raleigh is, 443,000 votes for Stein. Harris only receiving just under 400. about 40,000 votes less than Stein. Now, one last glaring example is in the suburbs. That's in Cabarrus County, where Stein won outright. Trump also won that county. And one of the Republicans running for statewide office who lost is Dan Bishop. He spoke about how Trump performed in the state.
I haven't had an opportunity to see everything that was happening on the ground yet enough to really decipher where the division came from, where it did not track with President Trump's vote. But, you know, one thing, President Trump has established a trust with the American people.
And in 30 minutes, the uber-close state house races that will help decide the balance of power in Raleigh. Reporting in studio, I'm Eli Brand, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
And here are more results from this historic election day.
North Carolina voters have elected Josh Stein as the next governor. He beat Mark Robinson by 15% margin, keeping a Democrat in the office. And here's what both men had to say last night.
Thank you for believing in the promise of North Carolina. And if I didn't earn your vote in this election, I hope to earn your trust by working hard for you as your governor.
We're not going to stop here, folks. We don't stop here. We've got a lot of work still to do as lieutenant governor. We've got a lot of work to do in Western North Carolina to continue to help those folks to get back to full normal.
In a close race for North Carolina's lieutenant governor, Democrat Rachel Hunt has a tight lead over Republican Hal Weatherman. Republicans are celebrating a big win in Congress while votes are still being counted. They've already secured enough seats to take back control of the Senate. And Channel 9's Nicole D'Antonio continues our team coverage from outside the U.S. Capitol this morning. Nicole.
And this morning, we know Republicans will control at least one chamber of Congress next year. This gives the GOP major power right here in Washington, makes it easier for them to get a lot of their priorities over the finish line. Now, Republicans last had control of the Senate back in 2018. Since then, Democrats went on to secure a narrow victory in the last two elections. But yesterday, Republicans flipped West Virginia, Ohio, and Montana. That gives them at least 52 seats, and a handful of races remain toss-ups. This means they'll have a lead role in confirming the next president's cabinet, as well as any Supreme Court justices if there's a vacancy. Now, the Senate will also be getting new leadership. Earlier this year, Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell announced his plans to step down from the role. He's currently the longest-serving party leader in Senate history. As for control of the House, that still remains up for grabs. There are about dozens of races that are still to be called, and we will be following that very closely. They're saying it could be a matter of days until we get those results.
Those votes are still being tallied, and something we will keep a very close eye out on. All right, Nicole D'Antonio reporting live from Washington. Thank you. Well, in a close race for North Carolina's lieutenant governor, okay, you take a look at your screen here. Democrat Rachel Hunt again won over Republican Hal Weatherman in a very tight race there.